Welcome to the Resistance.
Hey Xers, and welcome back to Gen X Resistance. I'm your host, Paul Stevens, and I believe it was Voltaire that once said, "Perfect is the enemy of good." And man, if that doesn't describe what I've been wrestling with here lately. I have a problem. It's a personal one, and it's one I've been dancing around for a while. But today I'm going to hit this head on. And honestly, I think some of you might recognize this in yourselves as well. It's not that I don't have ideas, right? I have got ideas for days. Topics scribbled in notebooks, typed into Word docs, iPhone notes. I'm talking over 70 complete episode drafts just sitting in a Word document folder right now. But most of you have never heard them. And why is that? Because they weren't perfect, at least not in my mind. And that's the thing I wanted to talk about today. Not politics, not pop culture. Today, we're talking about the tension between capability and completion. See, the blessing and the curse of being what I've always been called, which is the Swiss Army knife personality. And now being a Swiss Army knife sounds really cool, and sometimes it is. I mean, I can plug and play in almost any situation. When I was in ministry, it was kids, adults, teams, one-on-one. Yeah, no problem. Marketing, editing, teaching, organizing, leading. If you give me a little bit of time, I can figure it out. I've never really been the specialist type. I'm not Dr. McCoy from Star Trek.
What am I, a doctor or a moon shuttle conductor? I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
I'm a surgeon, not a psychiatrist.
Look, I'm a doctor, not an escalator. No, I'm a doctor, not a mechanic. I'm a doctor, not an engineer.
No, you're an engineer.
I'm not a magician, Spock, just an old country doctor. I'm a doctor, not a coal miner.
Side note, Star Trek is greater than Star Wars. All that being said, I'm the guy who jumps in, learns fast, adapts, solves problems, and then keeps moving. And that sounds really good on a resume. And for a long time, man, this thing was great. I could bounce into different areas of work, pick up new systems, help somebody troubleshoot, filling for somebody who quit unexpectedly. I'm reliable, flexible, quick on the uptake, and always pushing, not to just be competent, but to be excellent. I wasn't satisfied with just doing the job. I wanted to be good at it, maybe even the best at it. And that's just how I'm wired, and that's how a lot of us Gen Xers are wired. Work ethic, strong. Sense of ownership, high. Need to prove ourselves? You better freaking believe it. But there's a dark side of that versatility. And it's that drive for excellence that kind of feeds this monster. And that monster is perfectionism. Perfectionism doesn't look like what people think it does. It's not about being neat or tidy. My desk has clutter. My storage shed has a lot of stuff in random places. My sock drawer isn't organized by color. Perfectionism for me isn't about how things look. It's about how they feel. It's that inner critic that whispers, "This isn't good enough yet. Keep working on it." So I tweak, and I revise, and I overthink. Then I start over, and then I just scrap the whole thing. And then I go silent. See, that's why 70 episodes are collecting digital dust, is because none of them passed the internal test of perfect. And here's the kicker. That standard? Well, it's never clear. It's always shifting. The closer I get to it, the more it moves. You see, this podcast is supposed to be a tool, a weapon even. Sometimes I use it to speak the truth, challenge narratives, connect with people like you, people who feel like they were born analog in a digital world. But perfectionism turns that tool into a shelf ornament. And the real tragedy is that silence starts to look like a safer option, because silence can't be criticized. Silence can't fall short. Silence can't be not good enough. But silence also doesn't resist. It doesn't build. It doesn't connect. And it sure as hell doesn't finish anything. So let me be brutally honest. This isn't just about a podcast. It runs a little bit deeper than that. It's about identity. I've spent my whole life proving my worth through what I do, through how capable I am, how fast I learn, how well I lead, how hard I work. When I was in ministry, I was showing up for people. I was investing, adapting, teaching, and serving. In the workforce, I am learning on the fly, getting things done, filling gaps, mentoring when needed, and managing when asked. And the expectation I carried? Be everything to everyone. Plug in, adapt, excel. But here's the thing. When you can do everything, it becomes almost unbearable to do just one thing imperfectly. And that's the trap I fell into with this show. I convinced myself that if I wasn't dropping a perfect episode, tight, researched, insightful, sometimes funny, I think I'm sometimes funny, then I shouldn't drop anything at all. But that mindset, it's the enemy of momentum. It's the enemy of growth. And it's the enemy of resistance. So I'm changing that. Today's episode isn't perfect. It's not overly polished. It wasn't edited 17 times. I didn't write it in 3 different tones of voice. It's honest, it's real, and it's done. That's the new goal. Because here's what I've realized. Greatness doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being consistent. And in the Gen X spirit, it comes from showing up even when nobody asked you to, even when nobody rolled out the red carpet, even when the algorithm doesn't boost your reach. We weren't raised to wait for permission. We weren't raised to need applause. We were raised to get it done. And if something is broken, we fixed it. And if something was hard, we still did it. So why would I let a perfectionist voice hold me back now? And maybe done is better than perfect, and consistent is better than epic. So if you're listening to this and you're nodding your head, I want to speak directly to you. Maybe you're the kind of person who wears a dozen hats at work. Maybe you're raising kids and still managing your aging parents. Maybe you're the one everyone relies on to figure things out. Maybe, just maybe, you're feeling crushed under the weight of your own high standards. Well, let me tell you something. You are not lazy. You are not scattered. You are not undisciplined. You are simply trying to do everything well, and you care too much to phone it in. But you can't let that noble instinct paralyze you. Sometimes good is good enough. Sometimes done is holy. Sometimes hitting publish is the most rebellious thing you can do. So whatever it is, whether it's like me, it's your podcast, whether it's your side hustle, maybe you're writing a book, growing a garden, working on a woodworking project, stop waiting for it to be perfect. Start doing it scared. Start doing it scrappy. Start doing it now. All right, so here's what you can expect going forward from Gen X Resistance. Not perfection, not polish for the sake of polish, not weeks of silence. What you'll get is this: a voice, a perspective, a call to resist the cultural current of fakeness, fear, and this filtered nonsense. You'll get the truth from a guy who might stumble over his words once in a while, but who also won't waste your time with fluff. And yeah, some of these episodes might be a little messy, some might be short, some might even sound like I just fired up the mic and just went off, because sometimes I will. But they'll be real, they'll be consistent, and they'll be the resistance. All right, thanks for listening, Xers. And if you're a fellow Swiss Army knife trying to get out of their own way, let's talk about it. Let's share the struggle and push each other forward. You can find me at genxresistance@gmail.com or at the link in the show notes. And remember, progress beats perfect every time. All right, until next time, this is Paul Stevens, and this is Gen X Resistance. Remember, keep resisting, keep creating, and whatever you do, stay rad, my friends.